going to be so spooky, 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 so spooky. Not quite yet though. Yes, I'm just messing about with this, and this is the Hammond organ setting. Hammond egg setting. Oh, my hair's all over the place today. Right, I don't know what's happening here. Is this one person here? Who is it? Hello, person. Nice to see you. Is it actually live yet? Hello, Erfingle. Happy end of the week. When do you change your clocks back? I think it's next week, possibly the week after. It's not yet. Not quite yet. Almost, but not quite. It's still daylight savings. Is that what you call it in America? But we've got the British summertime. Hello, Philip. So it's British summertime. It's still British summertime. But very soon it's going to be dark. But it's dark already, so I'm not really sure what difference it makes. Yes. So apparently they changed the clocks to make it easier for farmers, but there are no farmers now, so it's very pointless indeed. So everybody now has to go to work in the dark and come back in the dark as well. And it's really, really not very swell. But apparently it's lighter in the morning for farmers, but not light enough if you ask me, because it's still dark. Still very dark, because I remember I had a job over the Christmas holidays, and just either side of it once, and I had to go to a bakeries. I was working in a bakeries, and I'm gluten intolerant. I didn't know I was at the time. So I worked at Oliver Adams Bakery in Northampton on the Saturday, and I thought, yes, I made enough money to go to the cinema every week, and I ended up spending more money. It was like it's supposed to help me in the way that Kamala Harris did McDonald's to get her through college. I thought working at Oliver Adams would help me pay my way, but it didn't, because I got about £15 for working there, and I then go to Milton Keynes to the Point Cinema, and that would go just by doing that. So that's quite good that you could do it for you could get to Milton Keynes and go to the cinema for that. But that was also meant that I spent more money than I would have done if I didn't have a job. But it was very dark in the morning. Get a lion. Yeah, you do get a lion, but do you get a lion? Because really you don't get a lion, because time is the same time. It's just darker in the evenings. That's all the difference it makes. It doesn't mean you have a lion, except on that very first day when it feels, aha, you've got an extra hour just for that one day, which is a Sunday anyway, and you're not doing anything on a Sunday generally. I know one year we were rehearsing for, when I was at college again, we were rehearsing for one of the projects, I think Commedia dell'arte and stuff like that, and it was the Avenue campus, which is, don't think there anymore, by the park, and we were there, and we knew that the times had changed, but half the people that were supposed to be rehearsing did not. So we were supposed to be rehearsing about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then people weren't turning up on time because they still didn't realise that the time was that time, so they didn't appear until after everyone else has gone home. Fun. Students, you see, go out drinking on the Saturday. No idea where they're going on a Sunday, and they didn't change the clocks. It was before they automatically changed. Remember that. Remember back in the day. Back to piano, because it goes back to piano. Back to piano again. La 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 la. Back to piano again, again, again. 3 people, hello. Yes, it's just, oh, I'm feeling a bit windy today. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think I'm just disturbed in the blah, blah. Yeah. So that's what I feel like, exactly like that. Wind up alarm clock. I don't think I've ever had. I might have had when I was No, I had a clock radio. Does anybody have a clock radio anymore? I had a clock radio that used to wake me up at 6:55. I set it at 6:55 so I could get to school in time. And also there was a show at the time called 6:55, so I used to go 6:55. Aha! I think Sally James or somebody was presenting it. I don't know who was presenting it, or maybe it was somebody else. I can't remember. It was 6:55, but that was 6:55 in the afternoon, and I was getting up at 6:55 in the morning to go to school to get ready in time for school. School. Ready in time for school. I don't know what I'm doing with this. It's a crutch. No, it's not. It's an organ. An organ and a crutch is the same thing. Haha. Anyway. Yes. So it's nearly Halloween, but it's not quite Halloween yet. I've been dressing up as various things. I dressed up as Elsa, and then I dressed up as in the witch's cloaky thing. Did you see my? I did my wig. I didn't put it on here, but look, haha! Got a blue dress, and I dressed up as Elsa, but I haven't put it up on this particular site. This wig, this did it before. It changes the white balance. It's changing the white balance on it. So yeah, so Elsa wig and then other things as well. So had one of those not at the same time. Poor clocks. Yes, a clock radio. Yeah. Ooh. My hair is poking out from underneath. Yeah. There. It's not really. I think you really need a wig cap for it. Yeah. It's not on properly. I don't think I've got it on the right way. Anyway, I did this, and because my mum suddenly said, "Hey, I've got a dress, an Elsa dress. You know that, don't you?" And I'm like, "How would I know that? How on earth would I know that you've got a grown-up Elsa dress?" Now, it's quite a sad story, really. The next door neighbour, she was when we first moved here, she'd just been born, and she's ill. She was ill her whole life, and she was very into Disney. And when she was an adult, she was still into Disney. So she used to get lots mystery boxes. I got a mystery box. She didn't like the mystery box, so I got what was left over one year. That was really good. One time. But anyway, unfortunately, she is no longer with us. But she gave my mum her Disney dress, which was a nice thing as a sort of legacy, really. It's not really very Elsa-like. If I look like this, from a certain angle, a little tiny bit. Yeah, so, yes, it doesn't really, I don't know whether it really suits me, but it is, and it's very itchy. But this has been hanging around for ages, and it was all tangled, so which is a different film entirely. But now I've untangled it, and I've made it this. Oh, it's so itchy, though, because it's made of artificial fibre. Very, very Icelandic. I think actually they are from like Sweden or Norway or something in Frozen, but it's Icelandic. Haha! Good point, actually, because they've updated the DNA on Ancestry. You know, I've got Ancestry, and I've had various different things. And one of the things that they've updated for my mother is 1% Icelandic. For a little short while, they said 1%. There's also 1% Spanish. Spanish and Icelandic, they go well together, and probably there was, because I don't know how they work this out. It doesn't make any sense. There's more Scottish in my mother's and my father's and mine than there was before. So we're Scottish Icelandic with a bit Spanish and more Germanic. They've put like 9% Germanic that I've never had before. But they've taken away some of my Welsh, because I was about 76% Welsh at one point, according to them. And now I'm only about 56%. But I'm like 9% Germanic and 1% Danish. No, actually 1% Holland, like the Netherlands, but my dad has got 1% Danish. It's like, okay. So it's just random anyway, because the stuff that my dad's got and mum's got, I don't necessarily have. But yes, they've got Icelandic. Icelandic! Ironic, yeah. Icelandic and Ironic's the same thing. Anyway, so, but at one point they said Native American, so I don't know whether Native American and Icelandic reads the same to them. I know there aren't that many. I mean, in Greenland there are indigenous people. I don't know whether there are indigenous people. I mean, although Björk, does she looks slightly like she might be indigenous in some way. She's from Iceland, but I don't know. Maybe she's Sami. So maybe Sami people and Native Americans have got some residual ancient DNA in common, and that's what's showing up. I don't know, or maybe it's just nonsense. Anyway, somehow Icelandic and Native American are interchangeable in ancestry DNA. I suppose when the ice was up, you could just walk across. I'm talking of which, that Ancient Apocalypse thing is on now. Ancient Apocalypse with Graham Silly Billy Hancock, and Keanu Reeves has got involved. Now, Ancient Apocalypse, they're talking about, oh yes, there's ancient civilizations. Oops, I just kicked my lemonade. Don't kick my lemonade. I haven't seen it because it's silly and nonsense. I've been trying to find Ancient Apocalypse around here. I'm just trying to find the stone circles on the stones and going, but I'm mostly joking. Like, I found a big pile, you probably saw it, a big pile of silver weird things. And everyone's like, well, that's probably just insulation. Now, the thing is, I know it's not aliens. I know that. It's probably like bike parts or something. I don't think it's insulation because it was like quite, the way that insulation fibers sort of go in the wind. It was just like sticking out as if it was like spiky and curly and hard, but also soft at the same time, like a weird metal, which is why I was saying, is this like the Roswell crash? Because it's been a bit weird, right? Now, I know on a sensible, logical level that this is definitely not aliens in the forest, but it was like, what is this doing here? And I can't quite identify what it was. I don't think it was a packing material or I think it was some sort of mechanical thing, but it's like, why is it just this? Why is there not other bits? It was weird. It was really strange. Yes, the ancients aren't very... Anyway, so I've been looking at weird things. And also, I put one about, hey, are these the stones? I was the sword in the stone thing, and the stones by the bin. I asked somebody that lives up there, and they reckon that those stones are quite recent. That they've been put there recently. But I put it to you, there have been developments around here. So although they can remember these stones being put here, where did the stones come from before then? I think that they were in the undergrowth and these stones were just sort of slung on their side, but they were at some point, because they're quite big and they do look like they might have been part of some ancient civilization or there might have been some sort of stone circles. There's a lot of stones that have just been dismantled, like the big giant head that's at the top of the mountain with the face on it. It looks like it might have been part of some sort of ancient stone structure, but I've told you about the Devil's Heap of Stones. It's just a heap of stones now, but it probably was something at some point. There's a lot of ancient cairns and circles and stuff that aren't there anymore. So they are in the air. This is very warm. I'm going to take it off. So sorry about that if you were getting used to me like that. It's very, very warm. And so I don't think, obviously, I know that there's no, like, fairy... See, this is what I think. Aliens and the fairy folk, I think, are the same phenomenon, just different experiences and different words and different explanations for the same weird, freaky stuff. Now, I don't necessarily think that either of those things is real, but I'm not going to risk it just in case they are, because the fair folk, you have to say they're fair and wonderful, because just in case you don't want to get on their wrong side. So you don't want to risk getting on the wrong side of any possible entity that might or might not exist, really. And I'm saying that they don't, but I'm also saying that they might, just in case they do, because I don't want to get on the wrong side of any But that said, I think Graham Hancock is largely nonsensical. He's very hung up on the 12,000 years ago there was an ancient civilization that spread across the world and meh, 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 meh. He's like, I mean, he's just a grifter, and he's just in it for the money, really. But oh, I'm smart, so crazy. Do they look ancient? Do they look ancient? Now, I don't know whether there are. I mean, there probably were ancient civilizations, like before the Ice Age. Who knows? Because ice is very destructive. But also, all this stuff about you don't have to wait 12,000. It's like the things that are around, like the pyramids and stuff like that. It's like, what, 12,000? Look at the weathering. Like you only have to see the recent event. That's something that is in one configuration. It just takes a little bit of water or a mudslide and it's all over the place. Like there were apparently the banks of the Thames have flooded because of the supermoon. The tidal, because the Thames is tidal, the tide has washed up so that Chiswick and Richmond on either side of the Thames in the west have flooded in the streets. Now that's apparently has happened before. It's not a rare thing, but it's happening more. And also things that you're like, this is a stable place. Nothing here has happened within living memory. Oh no, we didn't know that river was going to burst and flood everything and wash everything away. So you don't need any ancient apocalypse or 12,000 years ago ice age to very much not have the same things that were around. Like, in the last 6,000 years, quite a lot has changed. And I think 6,000 years ago, we were joined with the mainland. This is a time of the pyramids, just before the pyramids. Britain, was actually attached through Doggerland to the mainland. And that's not there anymore. So you don't need any 12,000 years ago. You need very much... it can happen in a day. The whole thing with Pompeii and Herculaneum, it can happen almost overnight. It's like, hey, there's this thing that is definitely stable and has been there forever. Oh, no, it's not there. And also, I saw somebody, it's even more recent than that, there was a church on Snowdon, or Irithba is the mountain. There's a church that was apparently hidden under the sand. And that's in the last 1,500 years. It got hidden in the sand and everyone had forgotten about it. It doesn't take that long. It takes mere moments for things to change, really. You don't need any other explanation, really. Oh, I don't know. So you don't need really any explanation about ancient apocalypses. You just need a couple of days of a bad storm and a bit of a wind, blowy wind, and a couple of branches falling on things. And then I don't know why there are silver things in the woods. I don't know if they are aliens or not. I don't know if they're gonna come and get me in the night, but there was a weird sound in the night. It was sort of a mechanical sound in the night, and I've got really quite scared in the night, and I thought, the aliens are coming to get me. They've seen that I've seen their ship. The aliens have come to get me. They really aren't happy about it. They think that I've been talking about them on TikTok, and they're right. But I was joking. Or was I? And the fair folk are coming, and the aliens are coming, and the ancient apocalypse is gonna come really soon. It's sooner than you think, and it's gonna happen now, and we're all gonna die really, really soon. And you best make the most of the things. And do you know what's come up my timeline a lot is people that are channeling aliens, and they're saying more things about the future, and it's really quite worrying if you ask me. And they're going. We're all without purpose, and we have to make our own purpose, and it's really quite disturbing, and I don't know what to say about that, but I don't think I really like it very much. We're here for a reason. I don't think we are. But never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind. Never mind. Never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind. There's no real any of it is there. Yes. It's all a little bit strange. But yeah, ghosts are the same thing as aliens and the fair folk? Probably. It's all the same thing. The ghosts and the gods and the aliens and the fair folk and electricity. And probably there's some sort of thing that affects everything, because electricity has always been there, but people didn't know it was there, did they? So who even knows all the weird things that happen? There's probably a very simple explanation for it. We just don't know what it is because we didn't know. And they'll invent some sort of machine that'll catalogue it, and you'll go, ooh. For instance, I think they've just done a machine, I don't know how real this is, a machine that can get two people to be dreaming the same dream. They can interact with each other in their dreams. That's a bit strange, isn't it? What's happening there? Ah! It's like, dreams? Are you telling me that dreams, we can interact with dreams? We can interact, so we're basically mind reading each other in our dreams. That is odd. That is well odd. Don't know what to say about that. If it's true, that's a bit strange. If it's not true, then I've just been taken in. How gullible am I? But I can take that. I can trust in the process of being gullible. I know that maybe I am a bit gullible. That is wild. That is wild, isn't it? But I don't know whether it's true, because the thing is, you see things and it's very difficult to know what's true and what's not true and what's just made up. So maybe that was made up. But I saw it and I just took it at face value. This is why would you make things up? I know stories, like fiction. I appreciate fiction because it's fictional and I know it's fictional. But when people are going around telling me things, this is a fact, it's like, is it? Why would you tell me it's a fact unless it's true? So I'm like, So I'm, at one point I'm skeptical, and another point I'm very, very open to listening to new information, because you never know. But I'm at the same time very skeptical. So it's like, I would listen to your interesting thing that you're saying is true, not necessarily believing it. This is, I've been taken in before. Like, people have said utter nonsense, and I'm like, well, this is utter nonsense. I'm thinking, it's utter nonsense, but I'm going to just let them say it anyway, because it's making them happy, and they might believe it, and I don't want to upset them. So I'm like, So they say something really ridiculous, and I'm like, oh, just not even going, oh, wow, that's true. And then they mocked me for believing them. They, ha, you believed me. It's like, I didn't say I believed you. I just didn't want to be rude and tell you that I just definitely didn't believe you. I'm not going to go out, if somebody's got a deep belief or some sort of fact that they've come up with, usually I'm like, oh. Like, if it's obvious, this is something that I definitely know is not true, for sure, I'll probably say, well, just kindly point out to them that it's not true. And then they get angry at me. But other times, somebody has said something that's patently ridiculous and made up, and I'll just go, and then they've mocked me. So there's no winning, really. There's no winning. But I'm like an innocent, pure person. I don't like people lying to me. So I don't see the point in lying. It's pointless. I mean, unless you're like trying to preserve your... I was like, if you've done something terrible, I can see this. If you've done something terrible and you can justify it to yourself and you're like, I know anyone to know this, so you can pretend like you're like, oh no, this never happened. No, I didn't accidentally break your vase. I can see why self-preservation, like you might want to lie to preserve yourself. Now, I can see self-preservation being a reason for lying. I'm not saying it's morally right. I'm not saying you should be doing that. I think you should probably be more honest and open with people and not make things up and fess up. Like, this is it. I'm like, oh, I don't like it when I've done something wrong, and I know that I've done something wrong. So sometimes I'm like, I hope I don't get found out. But recently I'm more mature, and I found that if you've done something wrong, then you will, if you confess to it and you let people know that you've done it and you apologize, then it takes the wind out of their sails. They're like, they might not accept your apology. They might be thinking very badly of you, but at least you got it out in the open, and it's like, and usually, strangely, rather than like everything going wrong, as long as it's not something very terrible. I mean, there are some things you can't get back to. It's just something like, oops, I made a mistake, and you admit it. Then people usually can't really. They're just like, oh, well, you shouldn't have done that. Let's move on. It's actually cathartic in a way, but because people make mistakes. Let's be honest, nobody's perfect. But I don't like making mistakes, so I like to. My natural instinct is to not lie about it, but just to be like, that's. But deep dark secrets are not healthy for a person, because deep dark secrets come back to haunt you. Is the problem. I mean, in an ideal world, we'd all be good and pure and wonderful, and we'd all be lovely to one another, and not make any mistakes and not do anything terrible. But we don't live in an ideal world, do we? So I can see why you might want to lie in order to not get punished. I can see why that would happen. But ordinarily, just lying for the sake of lying, just making rubbish up for no good reason, doesn't benefit you, just to mock other people for believing you. It's like, what sort of weird self-esteem issues do you have that you're making things up just so that you can go, ha ha, now I fooled you. It's just weird that you want to fool people in a malicious way. Not to benefit yourself in any way, really. You know, self-preservation, as I say, that's I can see. But just to be mean. Why would you just be mean? I'm not a perfect person. I will say that for nothing. But that is one thing that I'm not holding myself above everyone else, but I am just like confused about that. It's like, why would you? This isn't. I'm not gullible, but I will give people the benefit of the doubt, and just because I don't want to be going around destroying people's hopes and dreams. It's like, if you want to believe that, that's fine. That's your deeply held belief, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. But as soon as it starts hurting other people, or you're just doing it to be malicious, then I'm not really patient with you. Why would you do that? So silly. So silly. But, you know, there are, you know, I think narcissistic people, there are a lot of people in the world that just do it, just want to big themselves up and hurt people in the process. Now, I don't really understand that at all. I think that's a bizarre thing to do, really. Why would you want to hurt people? Because it also, I've said this before as well. Altruism, I think, is the best way to be, but I don't know whether altruism really exists. I think it's more be kind to each other and try to do, because if you do things, if you're like helpful to people and do things, just do nice things that aren't, don't do nice things if people don't want you to, because that also is an imposition. That's weird. If you just do helpful things and people don't want you to help, then that's not helping. That's the opposite of helping. But if people want you to help and you're doing things that benefit them and they want you to help them, then you should do that, and it's helping you as well. Whereas going out of your way to be like, aha, I will get all the stuff and I will be all the things and everyone will, aha, and it will be about you. It's going to come back to haunt you, and you're going to ultimately just be punishing yourself, and you're just going to be miserable. You think you're going to be happy, but I don't think you are. I think being a good person, and I think very loosely, I think good and evil don't really exist in a pure sense, but being on the pleasant side and helping people is ultimately going to benefit you, so that's better. And it's more, I think it's quite selfish helping other people in a way, because that helps you. I mean, I'm not there for being entirely selfless. Like when you're doing things that are detrimental to yourself, whoever you are, I don't like you doing that. See, I don't like people martyring themselves and doing things that will ultimately punish them either. So it's a balance. It's like, I think you should help people in a way that's not going to hurt you, and I don't think you should hurt people because that's going to hurt you too. So I think it's balancing it out. It's making sure that you do enough good in the world that everybody's benefiting, but you're not suffering. Because also, if you're making yourself suffer by doing things for other people, then ultimately they're going to feel guilty and you're going to make them feel bad. So that's very selfish and sort of like, oh, how amazing am I that I've done so much good in the world, and and look at poor me, and I've made myself suffer. Now, I don't want to be responsible for your suffering, to be quite frank. I would prefer it if you didn't make yourself suffer. Like, there's enough suffering in the world that is just happening anyway, that you're making yourself without any reason. If you just, yeah. So I don't. This is why I've got a little bit of a problem with a lot of religions. If the religion is sort of like, oh, I've benefited the world, but oh, I've suffered in the. But don't put that on me. Don't put that on me. You know what I mean. Anyway, so this is selfishness is rare, and it is. It is. But that's why I'm saying, Philip, I don't think you should be so selfless that you're hurting yourself, because ultimately that's not helping anyone. Everyone else is going to feel bad about it and sad. And really, if the whole point of being good and doing good in the world is to make other people feel good, then you've got to make yourself part of the world, because you're not separate from it. Like, if you do things that are helping the world but not helping you, then ultimately you're not helping the world, because you are. That's part of you. We're all one. We're all connected, aren't we? So every atom in the universe is coming from a point, and this whole the quantum entanglement. So, you know, part of one of the bits in your body that might be billions of miles away, another little atom, just a little bit. They're connected. So you're connected with so across time and space, bits of the universe that are making up you are over there. So if you're hurting yourself, you're hurting the universe. And if the universe is so, it's all part of, it's all interconnected, isn't it? It is, and I don't think that's philosophy, really. That's science. It's not religion, and it's not philosophy. It's just how it is that that if you hurt other people, then you hurt yourself. And if you make yourself hurt, then you hurt other people. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt other people. This is quite easy, isn't it? Just be good to everything. Just be good, but put yourself into the whole equation, and make sure that you're not making other people have to pick up the pieces that you've destroyed yourself. Don't do that. Really, make sure that everybody in the universe is balanced. Nobody's going to be ecstatically happy. It's nice that everyone's sort of in the middle, a good sort of state of homeostasis. Is it? Yeah, in the middle. In the middle's the best thing to be, the best way to be, I think. So yeah, there's a Berryland one that I saw. Oh yes. Yes, no, I don't believe in a flat earth, obviously. That is, although we live on a globe, obviously, but at the same token, everything is one-dimensional, really. I think there was some sort of scientific thing that's we're relatively flat. The whole thing, the earth, the whole universe is sort of squished. We're all squished up, but there's like little circles within circles and wheels within wheels. La 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 la. The song, isn't it? Never ending. La 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 la. The circles of your mind. Is it that? Anyway, the windmills. It's windmills, isn't it? The windmills. La 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 la. Yeah. Anyway, windmills. No, the wind. The birds. Yes. Anyway. Yeah. Good night, Erfingle. Nice to see you on. No. Good. Yes. No, exactly. I can't, because it's tiny. I'm having to look at that. Yes, good one, Arrofingle. I thought that Philip said good night, and then I read back and I realised that there was a thing. Anyway, everyone must be excellent to each other, to quote Keanu Reeves, who is somebody that is in the new Ancient Apocalypse thing for some bizarre reason. I think I mentioned that for some bizarre reason. Anyway, I will take it that you will carry on and live your life and everything will be fine. And I'll see you next week, which will be still before Halloween. It'll be Halloween week. So I'll see you in Halloween week, and maybe I'll wear a scary costume, or maybe I won't. I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Bye bye. Thank you once. Thank you everyone. Yes. Be excellent. Bye bye.